Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Good morning. This is the Sunday edition of the forecast discussion, and we have a warm front approaching the Northern Mid-Atlantic this afternoon with a few scattered showers, but really not much in the way of heavy precipitation with this warm front. We have one disturbance that is currently over Connecticut and eastern Long Island that will continue to move east. Now, when we put this into motion, you can see clearly we have plenty of cloud cover remaining over the northern mid-Atlantic. We have a bit of a clearing over parts of northern Virginia, but I think that's going to remain to the south of the region, possibly getting into portions of southern New Jersey, maybe around Cape May. But this cold front is the next threat for rainfall, and I don't think it's going to really reach the northern mid-Atlantic until, let's say, about this evening and overnight, with scattered showers and thunderstorms. So why isn't this a severe weather threat, even though we have a rather strong and aggressive warm front moving to the northeast towards the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area? Well, let's take a look at the latest surface maps. And as you can see, we have a very weak and ill-defined area of low pressure, several little locations of lower pressure, but this clearly is not a well-organized cold front or low pressure system. When we look at the thermodynamics at the mid-levels, you can see that the majority of the mid-level lapse rate over the region is relatively weak and not very impressive, below 5.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer. Basically, what you want for severe thunderstorms is something like this, 6.5 or higher, or down over the Ohio Valley where it's around 7. These locations is where you would have the best potential for thunderstorms, just looking at the mid-levels. As you can see over the northern mid-Atlantic, we really don't have much in the way of stability at the mid-levels. So even if a thunderstorm does start to develop, let's say over central Pennsylvania, as they move east, they will not be able to grow significantly, and thus they won't become severe because they can't intensify. Looking beyond this, at the lower levels of the atmosphere, you can see that central New York is going to be spared despite the unstable mid-level atmosphere, because the lower levels of the atmosphere are relatively stable, below 5 degrees Celsius per kilometer. So as a result, you really won't have much in the way of lifting to produce thunderstorms anyway. Again, you could think a lot of the low clouds and areas of showers that moved through this morning, that pretty much stabilized the lower portions of the atmosphere. So yes, there will be a threat for showers, but not anything significant or heavy. If you are going to the Mets game this afternoon, there is going to be a nice break of dry weather over the New York City metropolitan area for this afternoon. So much of the game will be dry. However, a few isolated showers will be possible, but they'll be weak and conditions will be playable. So if you're going out to the ball game, no concerns there. Water vapor is rather interesting though. I'm going to put this into motion and notice what we have here. We have a pattern setting up where you have all these disturbances swinging around an upper level low in central Canada and moving through the Great Lakes and towards the northern mid-Atlantic. And we have a powerful upper level low over the northwestern Atlantic around the Canadian Maritimes. This is your negative NAO, negative AO pattern. North Atlantic Oscillation and Arctic Oscillation. This is a type of pattern that we start to see more in the fall and the winter, having a stronger influence on our weather pattern. Well, you can clearly see it's already starting to influence our weather pattern in August, with these weak, ill-defined areas of low pressure skirting through the Great Lakes and heading towards the northern mid-Atlantic with showers. And this type of pattern is going to remain in place through next week, keeping us very unsettled. But overall, if you're out of the showers, it really isn't all that bad of weather conditions, in that yes, there's some cloud cover, but temperatures are relatively comfortable and humidity is moderately high. It's not significantly high. And once these cold fronts move through, humidity drops off and temperatures will remain around normal, basically in the mid-80s. Now let's take a visit towards the tropics, because I have a few features, especially this one down here, which is Tropical Depression Emily, or what's left of Tropical Depression Emily. Let's zoom in on that. Okay, so here we have Tropical Depression Emily. Now, can you tell where the low-level center is? If you're saying no, don't worry, you're not the only one. We have upper-level winds that are basically about to shear what's left of Emily completely apart, and this is why we really didn't think that this was going to be capable of developing into a significant tropical system yesterday morning. The low-level center is right around here. The thunderstorms are to the south and west of that circulation, and they're continuing to be sheared away from the low-level center. Eventually, this depression is going to continue to move out into the central Atlantic and will not be a threat for anyone, even shipping concerns, because quite frankly, it's going to be rather weak. I don't expect it remaining a tropical system for much longer than Monday evening. Thereafter, it will be absorbed into the weather pattern, into the polar jet stream over the central and northern Atlantic, and will help to enhance our negative NAO pattern. Is there anything else out there in the tropics? Well, actually, yes. This disturbance right here, around 45 west, maybe about 47 west, and around 12 degrees north. Why is this disturbance interesting? Well, keep an eye on it. Look at that. It's starting to rotate. This is one of the disturbances that was moving off the African coast that I was saying, hey, keep an eye on. This disturbance is starting to produce a low and mid-level circulation. It clearly has convection developing around that circulation, and there is a potential that this disturbance could be our next tropical depression. Let me see, zoom in here. I think you get a better idea of what we're dealing with. And we're zooming way in, and you could see the beginnings of the rotation starting to form with this disturbance. I think this is our next tropical depression. I give it maybe about 2-3 days until it's actually officially a depression. And then we're going to have to keep an eye on it as it moves towards the Caribbean Sea. But clearly it's something that it's going to be rather interesting to watch. As far as potential for wind shear, all the winds are moving in the same direction, which means wind shear is going to be very weak. And overall, the strength of these winds are not really all that impressive. So wind shear is low. We clearly have plenty of warm water over the central Atlantic. Let's take off these winds, and you can see around 28, 29 degrees Celsius, approaching 30 degrees Celsius. That is more than warm enough for the potential for development. So this disturbance needs watching. And then when we head way out into the Atlantic, all the way towards the African coast, you can see we have several other disturbances coming off. This one, let me stop this for a second. This one right here, this disturbance here is potential depression number 2 that I think we have a very high potential of seeing this develop as well. Notice it's already starting to produce a nice low and mid-level circulation, and there's a little bit of a hint of an outflow circulation here. So this one bears watching. And then we have this monster coming off of the African coast, and this one also bears watching, because when you watch it, approaching, and hey, that one has a bit of a mid-level circulation as well. So it looks like the tropical Atlantic is about to get very active, and we're going to have to keep an eye on the development of these disturbances. Now, not all of them will develop, but quite a few should keep us rather busy. Again, just want to head back to the water vapor satellite picture over North America. Again, I expect dry conditions for this afternoon. Look for a few isolated showers, increasing coverage this evening and overnight with the advance of this cold front. This cold front, though, is already starting to weaken. Here's cold front number 2, and these disturbances are just in a line 1, 2, 3 that will continue to move through and towards and through the northern mid-Atlantic, keeping a very unsettled, cloudy, and at times wet weather pattern over the northern mid-Atlantic into this coming week. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your severe weather source for the northern mid-Atlantic. To find the latest weather information and severe weather coverage, always trust in NYNJPAweather.com or find NYNJPA Weather on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.